You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments, ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR, practice management simplified. The Chiro Speaking Company, attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. OmniWave, redefining comfort and acoustic wave technology. The Chiro Hustle Podcast is sponsored by Chiro Health USA, ChiroScript AI, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 738 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. I'm your producer, Luke Millette, and here's your host, James Chester.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Sabrina Gya. And if you want to hear about international practice and becoming a coach, stay tuned for the full episode. Welcome back. This is another episode of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. It's the big one, 738. We got some big ideas we're going to talk about today. I have Sabrina Gya on with me, all the way over there in the Big Apple. And I told her if we're not laughing today, the podcast is going to suck. So we're going to definitely make sure we have a few laughs during today's episode. But before we get into the origin of Dr. Sabrina and how she got into this beautiful profession of chiropractic over in Bournemouth, we'll have some jokes about that maybe too. But why do we do what we do? I think that that's a big purpose, the North Star mission of Chiro Hustle. First things first is we believe in protecting freedom of speech. And we know what it's like to be traffic throttled and shadow banned and censored. We'd never do that to you. Everybody we've ever interviewed, we've let their story go live, which I love about what we do over here. We also believe in medical freedom and family health freedom. They are not the same things. But if you need some guidance or some help, find an area chiropractor, somebody in your neighborhood and city. They'll give you the guidance that you need for your family and for yourself to have those answers and the questions that you might have. Philosophically speaking, there's this guy named BJ Palmer, kind of important to the profession, but his last written words were called the Sacred Trust. And I believe our show stands for protecting that. And I hope that you as a chiropractor would do the same. And if you don't know the Sacred Trust, go to the show notes, click on the link, and you're going to learn more about chiropractic than you did previously. I guarantee you, even if you've been practicing for 30 years, just go do it. They're taking philosophy out of the schools, guys. They're not teaching adjusting in the schools well. And I hate to say that. I have 2 sponsors that are chiropractic colleges. You might want to send your students to those schools. If you have a prospective student, look at our sponsor list, send them to those colleges. But we do believe in subluxation-based chiropractic. And I know I shouldn't have to say that, but if you have a chiropractic graduate or a student that needs some philosophy, share the show with them. Let them get the real deal. So subluxation-based chiropractic is something that's very vital to the future of chiropractic when it comes to philosophy. If we don't have philosophy, we have nothing. You guys are manual therapists. We also believe in innate intelligence, universal intelligence, and educated intelligence. We believe that when man or woman, the physical gets adjusted, it connects them to man or woman, the spiritual. And when that is a connection made, that creates the educated. And with that, this is episode 738 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast. Sabrina Gya, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, James. It's such an honor to be here.
Yeah, our pre-interview conversation was pretty fiery, but pretty funny. And I think we're going to have some really interesting conversation topics today. And 25 years in practice, how could we not?
Of course, yeah. There's a lot to say.
So, origin story. How did you decide that chiropractic was the right profession for you when you're a fledgling 18-year-old or something coming into the higher education world? How did you think this chiropractic thing has to be good for me?
Actually, it wasn't 18 for me. It was 9 years old. So, and again, innate intelligence running through. So for me, it was a God thing. I was 9 years old and I was watching TV with my dad. I was watching the news on mute. So there's no sound. And all I saw And this is where it's a God thing, because all I saw was a man standing next to another man who was lying prone on a table. And I turned around and I said to my dad, I'm going to be doing that when I get older. What is that? I had no idea. Had no reference range. And he said, no, you won't be doing that because it's not on the public health, because I'm from the UK. It's not on the public health and I won't be paying for that. And so that was the beginning. That was the beginning. And then I got to 18 years old, James, and I had to, actually 16 in the UK at the time, 16, we had to do this thing where you choose your options. It's called your options. The 10 things that you want to do the most, and you have to fill out this form and put your 10 choices of universities and degrees that you want to do. And I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I couldn't fill out the form. And my mom was going crazy. Everyone was going crazy around me. Like, Sabrina, do it. Fill out your form. You're wasting your education. I couldn't do it. And I went and did work experience at a chiropractic office. Still didn't know what it was. I mean, I don't know if I should even tell you this story, because I got into chiropractic school not even knowing what we do. And so, for me, it was absolutely just this most beautiful, transformative experience. Really, that was when I was 18, so that was 30 years ago. And chiropractic blows me away. God exceeds my expectations every single day. And I keep seeing more and more miracles. So, I mean, yeah, not at 18. This is younger. This is earlier for me.
Well, when was your first adjustment?
18. That was at 18. Okay. By one of the chiropractic student interns at my college.
So when did you start the chiropractic program then? How old were you then?
18. Yeah.
So you went straight from high school right into your doctor program.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that typical for the UK education?
I don't know what it is anymore because I'm not there anymore. But yeah, it was at the time. It might still be.
So 25 years in practice now. Practice in England and then matriculated. I like that word. It's a fun word. Matriculated over to Long Island, New York.
Yes.
Talk about that. Talk about the practice model over in Europe and talk about the practice model coming over to the States.
Well, very different, extremely different. So when I first, all right, this again, you said you wanted to laugh. I'm going to tell you something. It's going to make you laugh. When I came to the US and people started saying, do you take insurance? I didn't know what they were talking about. I was going, what's insurance? I had no idea. So there's that. And actually, even to this day, I've never, ever done anything but cash practices only, because I really never wanted to get into it. Didn't get it. Still don't get it. Don't want to get it. So there's that. And then communication styles very different between the two continents. In the UK, what people know to be chiropractic, I mean, we need to educate on chiropractic worldwide. We know that. That's why we're sitting here right now. But my goodness gracious me, in the UK, you can't say the word subluxation. You cannot say innate. You are never going to say above, down, inside out. There are so many restrictions. It's unbelievable in the UK. And so, I remember someone saying to me once when I was much younger in practice in the UK that I was just a glorified physical therapist. I remember hearing someone say that to me, and I remember being very upset at the time. But actually now that I look back, I don't want to say they were right, because, I was so deeply offended at the time, but they were right. If it wasn't until I really understood, and just like a patient, just the way that we want to walk patients from believer, where they borrow our belief that they can heal, when they first start coming in, to us educating them and them taking that journey from believer to understander. I had to do that too. And everybody else then had to do that alongside of me, because there's a huge difference between chiropractic in the UK compared with chiropractic in the US. And then, as you said, we're losing chiropractic in the US as well. And we have a responsibility to pass the torch. We have a responsibility to make sure that our profession and the principles of our profession do not die. I know I'm saying a lot, but this is just so important to me that I say this. We were at our immersion with the Remarkable Practice. So we were at our immersion 2 weeks ago, and one of the coaches said, "How would you feel and what would you do if you knew that chiropractic was gone and that you could never get adjusted again, or that your children, your grandchildren, and the future generations could not ever get adjusted again?" And my goodness, it hit me so hard. It hit me tremendously hard when that scenario was introduced.
Well, I think it's important that you shared all this, because I'm going to tie some loose ends and complete some cycles of action with you that you shared there.
Yeah.
One of the early questions I would ask on the Chiro Hustle podcast was, if you're the last chiropractor on planet Earth, would the profession survive? And it's very interesting to think on that level. And I think every chiropractor needs to come with like pisiform blazing when it comes to like standing up for this profession and securing it and protecting it. Because imagine if your grandchildren's grandchildren didn't know what chiropractic was, and they couldn't get adjusted and, correct a vertebral subluxation by hand by a chiropractor for cash. What a travesty. Yeah. What an absolute backslide travesty. But you also said something really interesting too about purpose and having a purpose behind a profession. And I think taking the purpose away from the languaging in Europe. I gave a talk last year over to the United Chiropractic Association, beautiful group. But I said to them, last thing I said during my talk, in 100 years, will they remember you as a chiropractor? If not, you got some work to do. And I feel like that's so on point with what you're talking about right now, because that's 3 or 4 or 5 generations away. And can you, in the Remarkable Practice, with what you guys are doing right now, set the standard to where chiropractic is front and center and the most powerful profession in the world as a healing art in 100 years from now?
Yeah.
And that's where we have to really take this profession more seriously and tell people, no, I'm going to talk about subluxation. What are you going to do about it? No, I'm going to talk about universal intelligence and educated intelligence and innate intelligence and above, down, inside out. What are you going to do about it? Make a case. And that's what I told them they're going to have to do. They're going to have to decide whether or not they're going to roll over and lay down, or if they were going to stand up and take the hits. And I think that if we want to have a profession that has strong shoulders for the next generation to stand on, then, I've always heard we stand on the shoulders of giants. Yeah. Well, be a giant, damn it.
Yeah.
Be a giant.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think that we need to leave our insecurities at the door, right? Insecurities at the door. It's not about you. It's not about you playing small. It's about you being bold. And, I was the shyest person you could ever meet. I was so quiet. I barely spoke in a whisper. And you have to learn to be a lion. You have to learn to be a lion, because if you don't, and if you won't, people die. And that's just the truth. If you won't and if you don't, people die. And it is up to you. And you do have a responsibility. You cannot unlearn and pretend you don't know what you know. And you cannot stay quiet when you know the truth.
Amen. And can I share the story that I shared with you about me speaking over in Bournemouth?
Oh, yeah, please do.
So I was touring our first chiropractic documentary through Europe, and I got a chance to speak 2016 over in Oxfordshire at this event called Chiropractic Matters Conference. They let me talk for 15 minutes. I thought I was famous.
Mm-hmm.
True story. I was like, I made it. But I also did a little European tour where I showed our movie at Barcelona and in Paris, France. And I had a chance to take it to Bournemouth, which you're like, yeah, it's a chiropractic college over there. And I go, they practice chiropractic over there? And it's kind of a joke, but if you guys ever went over there, you'd probably say the same thing. And it's not me throwing rocks at anybody. I'm just telling the truth. But I was going to screen the movie. I did screen the movie, and to the students over there, and they said, Shh, you can't say these three things. I go, well, what can I say? I'm not a doctor, by the way, guys. But they're like, you can't say these three things. And I'm like, I'm a journalist, marketer guy. And I was doing my thing. I was going to present the movie to the student group. And they're like, you can't say these three things. And I'm like, what three things can't I say? Mm-hmm. And they're in the movie. And they're like, you can't talk about subluxation, innate intelligence, or universal intelligence. So I got in front of the group and I said, hey, I've been asked by the administration here not to say these three things to you. Subluxation, innate intelligence, universal intelligence. I go, now that I've gotten that out of the way, let's carry on. And I just think it's important that we have the language. And here's the other part about that, Sabrina. As I was working in a clinic 16 years ago, the chiropractors that I was working with said, hey, we're going to go to a coaching group to learn how to communicate better. Mm. And I'm like, y'all went to college for 7 years and became doctors. You don't know how to communicate? Like,
yeah.
What are we doing here? How am I the guy that talks to the patients nonstop? How am I the communicator? And you guys are doctors and you don't know how to communicate. I was really like blown away. So coaching is really important, I guess, for chiropractors to know how to talk to people.
100%. I love that story that you shared, because we need disruptors like you. we need these disruptors in our profession to just go out, speak it, and say what needs to be said. And then, the communication piece is huge, because chiropractors, I'm so completely biased, and I'll always admit to that. Chiropractors, by the way, are my favorite people on this planet for so many reasons. We are unicorns, a lot of us. We are doing God's work. God put the healing in our hands. Innate flows through us. We are these vessels, these instruments of healing. And we are sometimes unicorns, and sometimes unicorns are so gifted with creating the magic of healing that they find it hard to communicate what that is. And then we think about the current very sick, most toxic culture that we've ever seen in history. You put a unicorn in there. You put a beautifully gifted healing unicorn in there, and you go, all right, go tell them about subluxation and tell them that they need to clear their vessel and clear their nervous system, remove interference, that innate can flow above, down, inside out, and that they need that from before they were even born till from the cradle to the grave, all the way through, and that you're affecting generations and creating legacy. Go say that to them in a way they understand. And, and you have to walk people through both the unicorn, beautiful chiropractors, the beautiful healers in our profession, and the general public who are, I believe, are wanting the education. All I see are people wanting to be healthy, wanting to be their best, most optimized self. But then we have so much toxic, crazy noise going all over the place from all directions, and we need to be able to hone in, learn to listen, and then learn to speak the right words in the right ways that people can hear us.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession on the world's #1 chiropractic podcast. This episode is brought to you by Peach State Payments. Ethical processing, more profit, less stress. Chiro HD, more than an EHR. Practice management simplified. The Chiro Speaking Company. Attract, educate, and convert. Chiro Spring, cloud-based, user-friendly software with all the essential features chiropractors need. OmniWave, redefining comfort and acoustic wave technology. The Chiro Hustle Podcast is sponsored by Chiro Health USA, Chiro Script AI, Chiro Moguls, Pure Chiro Notes, 5-Star Forge, Titronics, Sherman College of Chiropractic, Life Chiropractic College West, and the IFCO. Let's hustle. So true. And I like and statements. And I was out doing a spinal screening this past weekend. I've done over 800 of those things. So I've gotten pretty tough with telling the truth about chiropractic to the public. And this couple comes up to me and they said, I've heard if I go to the chiropractor once, I'll have to go the rest of my life. I said, well, that's only if you want to be healthy. And I said, when's the first time you went to the dentist? Did you go back? Do you continuously go back? Is it a part of your life? Yeah. Because you want to keep your teeth, you want to look healthy, and you want to keep smiling, right? I said, that's the same way with chiropractic. I was like, it's a part of your life. You should have the healthiest nervous system that you could possibly have so you can look amazing and feel good and function properly and have vitalism. Mm. And they're like, I've never heard it that way before. Yeah. And they're like, what's vitalism? And I go, well, that's the power of you to animate your life and to have quality of life and to be able to do things that you want to do into old age and to do them today the way you want to without limiting your lifestyle. And they're like, wow, that's pretty cool. So anyways, I ended up signing them both up. But I told them I have a truth here I have to share with you.
Yeah.
I was like, if I don't tell you the truth about chiropractic right now because of your curiosity, someone else will convert you to drugs or surgery. And I go, that's just the course of life. That's what our society does. We live in this toxic soup of reality where the air that you breathe is toxic, the food that you eat is adulterated, and the water that you drink is full of poison. And the food's probably poison too. I was like, so we're doing our best to prop up a system that's failing, and we call that chiropractic. And I said, it's a very vitalistic approach to keep you and your family healthy long-term. And we'd love to get you in, and I can tell you what that looks like.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. That was so good. So everyone listening to that, just replay it over and over, put that script in, get that script dialed in and go.
Yeah, but that's what the chiropractic profession needs.
Yeah.
They need ambassadors that are quality, that can go out there and talk the tick and not let society push them around because of what somebody's been told or what they've thought. The lion that you were talking about, we just have to set them free and let them go speak.
That's right. And
that's one of the things I wanted to discuss with you too, because being a strong entrepreneur, chiropractor, woman, what message would you give to other women in practice? Because you said for a long time in your life, you just whispered.
Yeah.
What advice would you give to other women that are like, I need to start roaring a little bit?
The first thing I would say to every woman is that you can have it all. You know, because for women, and this isn't just chiropractic, this is professional entrepreneurial women, but let's just talk about chiropractic for now. You can have it all. There's a way to do it, and there's a way to live gracefully and still organize and have your business and still have the kids. And it comes usually with being real and being raw and being true to yourself. It's between you and God. And I would say that how does the lion, let's call her a lioness, James, instead of a lion. How does the lion
I still need some coaching on my communication too. So thank you.
Oh my gosh. So how does the lioness keep her heart burning with the fire of love and service? It's by honoring who she really is, and by honoring what her real purpose and mission is. And that's not only chiropractic, it's all of it. And so my advice to all women is always to be very, very honest with yourself, to sit down, get quiet, and to be very honest about where your peace is, where your passion is, and once you know that, and you can look at and feel through and allow innate to guide you and God to guide you, really, God guides your vision and your mission. Your desire comes from the sire, which is God. Right? So your vision and your mission are God-given, and they don't come from you, they come through you. Just as we speak, this is chiropractic. I'm still speaking chiropractic here. Innate flows through you. And so it always starts with vision. Your vision pulls you, your purpose pushes you, and you need both together. And as a woman, you have multiple purposes. Your kids will never have another mother. No one can replace you. No one can give the love and the nourishment to your children that you can give. No one can get, you have your own, all of us have our own unique set of gifts and abilities, because God makes no mistakes and only creates geniuses. And so, as a woman, we've got to make sure that we have to be very smart. We have to be very smart, and we have to be very convicted, and rest is a big part of that. Being able to set very good structured boundaries around our time. And when we get to rest, we have to be operating from a very full and overflowing cup. We have to organize our businesses, not like men, but as women. So the structure and the frame that has to be there, which is amazing. That's what we do at TRP. And that structure and frame allows you as a woman to dance within that. Women are fluid and creative and powerful and wise and gentle and loving. And women are sacred vessels of creation. We birth children, like we birth souls into the world. So as a chiropractic CEO, all of that needs to be held in complete reverence. And there is an order as to how you operate and how you prioritize. And it has to go God, health, family. And family isn't just the kids. Family is your relationship, your marriage. That's one section of family. I've learned to separate them out. And kids is another one. Then mission. And then that mission gets fueled actually by the home fires, like the home fires and the filling up from within, create and actually allow that mission to expand. And it doesn't go the other way, because when it goes the other way, we burn out. When we try to be men, we burn out. We have to work from our true essence. When you work as a woman, when you're a woman and you work from your feminine, you will never run out of energy, because you're not trying to be anything that you're not. And so I don't know if I just answered your question, but I did give you what I believe to be something that women need to hear.
Well, I couldn't say it from your voice. Obviously, I don't have a feminine British accent. And you do. And being somebody that can speak to the audience, my tone of how I'm very direct. I'm very plain language guy. I'm Iowa dude. Like I'm just I grew up the way that I did, and I like to get to point A to Z as quick as possible. Sometimes I share longer stories, but I think that listening to the way that you explain that is that John DeMartini once taught me you have to give yourself permission to be great.
Yeah.
And no one was going to do that for you. And I think that that's my quick way of saying what you just said is you have to give yourself permission to understand the hierarchy of your needs. Mm-hmm. And when you're going from a feminine approach, that you have to come from a place of feminine energy. And that if you go into the masculine, these small things inside of you burn out. One of them being your heart, one of them being your glands, your adrenals burn out, and your thyroid will burn out. And these small parts of the body are a greater whole, and they're the greater part of the woman energy that needs to be protected. You got to protect those adrenals and the thyroid and the heart. And you know that what happens when somebody doesn't take care of that, the gut suffers. And that's the first brain. So when the first brain starts to suffer, the second brain starts to suffer. And then we're not happy because thoughts, traumas, and toxins cause subluxation. So when we think about the female practitioner not being complete with all the necessary components, the body burns out and then the desire falls away. And I think that that's a big part of what you just shared with us is stay in congruency with the hierarchy of what you need to practice and stay in the game as long as you can, as long as you want to, and find ways to do that and not subordinate to energy that doesn't serve you.
Yeah, 100%. It's so I love that you said that in that way, because I also practice functional medicine because of that. Because the amount of stress that we go through is immense. We were not supposed to live that way. However, we have a big mission to serve, so we must have all of those different parts in check, 100%.
Well, early on, once again, 16 years ago, I've been working in chiropractic. I had to watch this video. And it said, stress is a silent killer. Yeah. And it's true. Like, if people just had talk therapy and said the things that were like shitty inside of them that they were feeling or thinking to somebody else, it would go away. But we're ashamed and we have guilt and we have fear that nobody wants to listen to us. And those override prosperity of consciousness. And we never make it to present time consciousness because we're either living in the fantasy of the future that never comes or living in the past, but which already lived. So if people just learn how to live in PTC, present time consciousness, and give themselves permission to talk about things that suck, there'd be a whole lot less shame and remorse and guilt and fear. And then you vibrate at this higher frequency, which is love and abundance and prosperity. And I think that when people start to listen to this episode, they'll be like, damn, I'm going to listen to that over and over and over and over again, because these guys were speaking truth. They had a lot of fire, and they're helping spread this message of chiropractic, which, once again, the reason I started Chiro Hustle wasn't for the opener. That's what it became. The opener was I wanted to create more chiropractic content, speaking the truth about chiropractic than anybody else ever did on planet Earth, period. And I believe we've done that in the past 8 years. And having your story as a part of that means the world to me. And I'm sure it means the world to the future of chiropractic, because now we have irrefutable evidence. If anybody ever wanted to come and change the profession of chiropractic for good or bad, they couldn't, because I would go filibuster them in court, and I'd take them every episode of the Chiro Hustle podcast, and I'd say, we're going to play this every day on a continuum of every episode and every interview I've ever done, talking about the truth of chiropractic. And no case would ever change this profession because of this work that we've done. So thank you for being a part of our show. I know that we're coming up on the edge of our time together. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you wanted to share with our audience today?
I wanted to just touch upon, you said something so powerful just now about speaking and speaking up and present time consciousness. And, one last thing I want to share is that having that type of an awareness, I have to highlight that. I have to highlight what you just said and put it into an actionable step for people so that it doesn't go missed. And I would say that there has to be, for me, it's the morning, a time of the day where you actually decide that you're going to be present, or twice. I would say the beginning, the middle, and the end of the day, so that you're sandwiching your time with being present. And then last thing that you said was, if we could speak to other people, we wouldn't be sick. Yeah, your peer group matters. And I know that we hear this over and over again, but my goodness, when you can either enter a mastermind, which, yeah, we do have those in the Remarkable Practice, or be in a group that stretches you, that doesn't take your BS, your stories, and your you're playing small. You want people that stretch you, that will hear you, that will see you, that will call you out. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like being stretched, being called out, being loved through it, and having those times in your day where you choose to be present, you choose to meditate, you choose to pray, or you choose to just go silent. And that's something that I believe you said that needed to be highlighted.
Well, on top of that, you talk about these like peer groups. I have 2 men's groups that I put together. They meet for 30 minutes each week. And we go around, and I think you'll like this. Maybe there's some takeaways for you too. I'm actually thinking about creating an app. So if you guys are watching this or listening to this, don't steal my idea. But I want to call the app Happy Crappy. And you get a group of 4 to 5 people, and you go around and meet every week. I pick Wednesdays for 30 minutes, and each person gets a chance to say what was happy during their past week, what was crappy during their past week, what do they praise about life this past week, and you could also do it for the future week too. So what is happy coming up? What is I don't want to be crappy coming up? What do I praise in the future? And then one thing you'll be accountable for that next week and show up with that completed. And usually each person gets between 3 to 5 minutes, and you can complete a group within 30 minutes. And by the end of that, people get a chance to get the stuff off their chest, or their back, and or their shoulders, or wherever it might be hiding or hitchhiking onto their energy. And they get a chance to share these things that they might be able to find some empowerment, but also have some people that they can trust and they can see grow with them too. I've had one group that's been going strong for 5 years, and another one I just started at the new year. So get yourself a happy, crappy group, and some praise and some accountability. And I think the rest will set people free.
I love that. I love that. It sounds so awesome.
Well, it's a part of, I just hired a publisher yesterday.
Congratulations.
What did you ask me at the beginning of our interview today when you first got on?
I said, what are we going to talk about?
No, you said, how are you doing?
I said, how are you doing?
And I said, it's the best day of my life. And that's where it ended. But the book that I'm writing is called The Best Day of My Life. And I'm going to teach people these principles about living a chiropractic lifestyle and living in present time consciousness, and how to build peer groups. And they can also find out every day that when people ask them how they're doing, they should always tell them, I'm having the best day of my life.
Love it. Love it. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to read this book and witness you as you continue to grow.
Well, Dr. Sabrina, I know people are going to want to reach out to you and work with you. I know they want to come to the Remarkable Practice coaching group and do workshops and do the coaching. Where do we send people to if they want to join you and the Remarkable Practice?
They can come to theremarkablepractice.com. It's probably the quickest and easiest way, and sign up for a strategy session. I'm doing complimentary strategy sessions for the Remarkable Practice. So we just get in there, dig in, see where you're at, see where you want to be. Success looks different for every single person. You have your own vision, your own style, and your own wants and needs. And so we dig in and then we make it happen.
Well, go to theremarkablepractice.com, guys. Take one of these strategy sessions, discovery session, and find out who you are and where you need to go. Dr. Sabrina Gya, thank you for being on with me. Your episode 738 of the Chiro Hustle Podcast.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. We did some laughter too. So we stood up to our message.
Yes.
And with that, like I always close out, I tell everybody, you guys are just one story away. Keep hustling. We'll see you guys on the next episode. Bye for now. Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.